heard they were looking for us. So we here. ¿Qué pasó? Me llamaste, coño. What was said? Tonight's gonna be epic. Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. No, I'm not doing a no monologue tonight because I got guests in the house who happen to be pioneers and legends, okay? And their time is precious and valuable. And I am so humbled that they are here tonight, okay? This discussion is very, very necessary. I want y'all to know we're all coming from love, right? Because we love this thing called hip hop, right? It's more than a genre and a culture to us. It is the soundtrack to our lives, all right? It is the soundtrack to our lives. So we are gathered here today, okay, to get through this BS that's being said on social media. I'm going to ask the tough questions, okay? I'm going to do my best not to be biased. Although our name is ringing in the streets, I'm going to do my best. So I have some amazing guests tonight who I'm going to start bringing up, okay? You guys can ask questions in the chat. I'm telling you right now, I'm not putting up no questions or asking. I don't care how curious you are, unless they are joined with a super chat. Why? Because a lot of people are going to be chatting and commenting, and I'm not going to take my attention off the guests to see what y'all are jibber-jabbing about in the chat. So if you really want to see my question, or you have a question for any of the guests on the panel that you're serious about, throw it in a super chat. I am on the block with Jen, mi gente. Welcome. As you know, I'm on the block with Jen on all social media platforms. I don't care if you like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. It's on the block with Jen. It's easy. If you want to email me, on the block with Jen at Gmail. Let's get this party started, okay? Because as you know, it's been crackulating and bubbling and simmering and bubbling over, spilling over all over social media. So I got some good questions. You guys may have better questions than me. Throw them in a super chat. Other than that, be respectful in the chat. Moderators, have no mercy with the clowns tonight. This is not about disrespect. This is about learning and teaching. I am a child of hip hop, but I don't know everything. That's why the legends are on the panel tonight. So I am learning along with the block babes tonight. Okay, so these questions I'm asking, I'm really curious about myself. So let's start. Let me bring up first and foremost my hip hop mentor, because I don't know what he knows. Okay, I'm a 73 baby. He knows a lot more than me. Welcome, Crazy Legs. How are you, sir? I can't hear you.
Two versions. I came with two versions of me.
Yeah.
My Afro and my older man style.
Yay. We like both. We like both. And
Word.
we have the legendary, okay? This man right here, had it not been for him, we wouldn't even have a record of hip hop to the level that we have it. If you didn't know, now you know, Mr. Joe Konzo. Welcome to the block, Joe. Where you at? Woo! Let's go.
Damn, you got Joe Konzo got the scream.
He got the scream.
Got to.
You got to rep all the way. Bringing up, you guys know this man. A lot of you guys know this man, but we're going to get to know him more tonight, okay? And I'm so honored that all these gentlemen are here. Please help me welcome the iconic Grandmaster Kaz. I can't see you, Kaz.
What is that? Oh, hey.
Welcome.
Kaz, you're sexier than ever.
What's good?
Good to see you. We have another guest backstage, okay? I don't want to talk too soon, but BDK, can you tell me what BDK stands for, please?
Big Daddy Kane.
Fuck yeah.
For the people in the back, we got Big Daddy Kane.
Fuck yeah.
What happened?
What's happening? What's good, family? How you doing, young lady?
What is up? How are you, Big Daddy Kane? I told you everybody pulling up to the block today. Y'all thought I was kidding. Everybody's pulling up today. This is going to be a serious conversation. This is going to be the conversation. I don't care what anybody says to end all the conversations about this subject on YouTube and social media. We're going to get the truth and nothing but the truth tonight. All right, guys. So while we wait for our other guests, I know your time is super, super, super valuable. I am honored and humbled from the bottom of my heart. Being a hip hop kid, born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Hip hop is the soundtrack of my life. I had the Right On posters on the wall, okay? That was me. So I'm really, really excited, but I'm going to try to keep it professional. Woosah. I'm not going to fangirl right now. Not a professional thing, but I'm fangirling right now. I'm fangirling. But I'm going to bring it back. I promise, work with me. So welcome, gentlemen, to On the Block with Jen. Tonight's subject, as you know, is Puerto Ricans in hip-hop, creation versus contribution. And some people even call us just guess, okay? Just guess. So we're going to clear that up tonight from the perspective of the pioneers and the icons and the legends, such as all of you. We got Whip-a-Whip. Oh, this is gonna be an epic night, love. Mama, I made it.
Look at all these barriquas.
I'm telling you.
Okay, wait. I mean, I wouldn't be New York if I didn't do this. Come on,
There you go.
Hey, I'm just saying, Grandmaster Cass is being rude because the rule is take two and pass.
You smoking alone, man?
Pass it. Pásalo. All right, guys. I know your time is valuable. Let's get into this, por favor. I'm gonna come straight out the gate with the questions. The most important question tonight, I think, is why are we having this conversation? Why are we having this conversation in the year 2022? When whether you call it a genre or a culture, it is literally the fabric of our lives. Hip hop is in our veins and it is in our hearts. We've always shared it together, Blacks and Puerto Ricans, thick as thieves. Some of us were thieves together, but that's another show, right? We were always hand in hand. We are family. We are having children together. We are fighting together, loving together, bleeding together. That was the Bronx, New York, the Mecca of hip hop. That is who we are. And that's what we've always known ourselves to be. Why in 2022 are we having a conversation and such vitriolic conversations? Why are people being divisive in 2022 amongst us? Because this is our thing, right? And of course, you know, it transcended the globe, but this is our thing, right? From birth, our birthright, you can say. Why do you think we're having this conversation now? What is this division about? Why do you think it's happening now in 2022?
Hey, I have an analogy.
Okay.
People do not understand. And you know, and this is, let me preface by saying, no relationships are perfect. But when it comes to the Black and Latino relationship within the New York City tri-state area, it's something different and it's something special. And I think a lot of places outside of our area were more segregated than we were. And we kind of like overcame that a lot sooner than a lot of areas. So in a lot of areas, get information about what's going on, and it's coming from the press, and the press just put it out as only Black, you know, after a certain point. And you know, there were a lot of Latinos who couldn't get record deals because they weren't Black enough, who were MCs and stuff like that. So there's probably like a whole bunch of things, but I think we're really doing this because there are a lot of people out there who want to take ownership of hip hop. But on their mission of ownership, they are kind of being like disrespectful and dismissive and of people who were there. And this isn't about who contributed more. This is my only thing was that, and I put out a video last week and I basically said, hey, we were there. You know, we did this and we did that, blah, blah, blah. I never said, oh, Latinos created this. But then there's the whole idea of like, if someone says, okay, well, if we came after, somebody posed the question today, well, how long did it take to create it before Latinos were brought in? Like, what was it, a month, 2 months? Then we came in, or a year. Then they said, okay, everyone can come in now. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Nope.
You know, so I think there's a lot of people who are younger, outsiders, mentally colonized, and trust me, I feel like a lot of them have good intentions, but I think they're not really doing their due diligence in terms of saying, hey, I want to ask Legs what it was like or his experience. I want to ask Joe or Kaz or whoever. And to me, I always like to preface like, yo, you know what? A lot of the old school heads didn't create contemporaneous notes. A lot of us are wrong because some of us were high. Some, you know, we don't have a journal or a diary that we could reference because, you know, we wrote it right after the jam. So we're trying to still catch up with ourselves. And that's not our fault, because the one thing that people don't understand is that we were young kids. So when people say, oh, Latinos try to take this over, it's like, you dumbass, I was 10 years old. What am I trying to take over? Like, if you were to look at, if they were to say what they're saying now to us back then, they would be looked upon like asshole adults picking on children.
Yeah.
We were children. It's like, what are you saying? Like, shut the fuck up, man.
Okay. Kaz, what do you think about why are we having this conversation now in 2022 when it's always been known how hip hop, you know, began, where it began, who created it? Why do you think we're having this conversation now in 2022?
I think it's because hip hop has become recognized as the biggest genre of music in the world. I think it's because the milestones that hip hop artists continue to make, not only in music, but in other forms of entertainment. I think it's because of the notoriety of the culture, the documentation of the culture, and everybody wants their contributions to be recognized. And we coming up on the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and parts of hip hop are being accepted by corporations. Mainstream America, breaking is about to enter into the Olympics now, and that's largely due to the Latino contribution to that particular art form of hip hop. So I think people are just trying to take ownership of their contributions to hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Joe, what do you think? Why are we having this conversation in 2022?
I'll take it a step further. It's the world we live in today. This, and excuse my language, this fucking world that we live in today is so divisive. They have nothing else better to do. You know, and you know, as Kaz says, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of this culture, and we're on the hit list. We're on the hit list of let's pick and choose, divide, conquer, and all that stuff. But it's almost the world that we live in today of what's going on.
So you're saying basically hip hop has been a casualty of social media wars now?
Of course.
Forever.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Kane, warm it up, baby. What you think?
I think that Joe pretty much nailed it. To add on to that, you know, it's the type of thing where back in the days, on a television show or in a magazine interview, someone could say, this is what happened, this is who was there, and people read it and gain knowledge. Now, in this digital era, in this social media era, more people listen to debate instead of learn. You know, people already have, you know, some different objective on their mind while you're talking to debate you on, rather than listen and do some fact checking and see if you're speaking the truth. Me and Crazy Legs just had this conversation, 20 minutes ago, talking about Kaz, something that Kaz said on Drink Champs, that I'm sitting there watching. I'm reading all these people that didn't start listening to hip hop until like the Jay-Z era, Jada Kiss era, and they're trying to tell Kaz that he's wrong about something that he lived through and been there for.
Let me add something to that. I saw a comment today that said, you know, since Kaz was down with all these Boricuas, Kaz is not first generation hip hop. And I'm like,
Whoa.
I mean, like, you don't know your history. Before Grandmaster Kaz, it was Casanova Fly. And that preceded, or came before Grandmaster Kaz, what, 5 years, Kaz, at least?
Yeah.
At least? So it's
I'll tell
like,
you what.
how can you even make comments like that?
I tell you what, if you're going to talk about history and documenting history, let's do this. We can go from Ernie P, that's my era, on up to the Jonathan Manyons and all that. But if you want to talk about the origins of hip hop, where did it start? What did it look like? Any proof that you see, any image that you see came from who?
Crazy Legs.
Joe Konzo.
It came from you, Joe. It came from you, Joe. You're the one that documented Cold Crush, The Furious, Busy Bee, all of that. You know what I'm saying? That first generation of hip hop is documented by a Puerto Rican dude. So
And you know what? Kane, here's the important part. Somebody, like, people are trying to say, like, oh, well, he was a journalist. Nah, Joe was one of the dudes in the hood. He wasn't, he was a young, how old were you when you started taking photos?
Taking photos, about 15 years old, but hanging out with Kaz and everybody else, 17.
So he wasn't the press.
Yeah, I wasn't sent up to the Bronx to take pictures of the little blacks and Puerto Ricans spinning on their heads and
Like the
writing
New
on
York
the walls.
Times. The New York Times send you?
Let's take it back to the old school.
Whip a whip. Before we continue, why do you think we're having these crazy, long, drawn out, vitriolic, sometimes even debates about who started hip hop and who was there and who wasn't there?
Because we live in a world with. Let me shut up. I was gonna say something funny, but no.
You on the block? You pulled out.
Everybody's opinionated, and they're like opinions like assholes. Everybody got one. So I mean, but when it comes to facts, I mean, what are you, blind? Okay? Facts are facts. Come on. And bottom line is, everybody wants to have something to say. They want their input out there. They want to like, oh, Whip is black, Whip is Puerto Rican. We just did this little project, and the only thing they kept talking about was, we got one Puerto Rican and the rest are black. Why is that? Theodore said it 3 times. Well, that was one of the routines of Fantastic before Whip and Doc got down. So we just left it that way. Because 1.5 Puerto Ricans and the rest are black just don't mix.
Right.
I mean, que somos pendejo. But this is what people focus on. They're looking for negative shit. They want their opinions to be out there. I'm like, yo, it's my grits, yo. It's
Whip, you got to understand, man, back then, we wasn't really, other than Ralphie Pygon, we wasn't used to Puerto Ricans hitting them high notes like you do, man.
I got to thank my mama for that.
Wait, can you still hit them high notes?
Occasionally, it depends. If she's cute, I'll hit it.
I love you, brother.
Can we get a high note? We already here. Can we get a high note?
Ooh, girl. Hold on. I got to get high first. You want a high note, right? Shoot. Shit. Don't get it twisted.
All right. So, I am going to, obviously, because I am a smart woman, take the word of the people that were actually there, the legends, the pioneers. You guys are all iconic, right? So to me, this conversation ends it for me. I don't care who jumps in my DMs, in my comments, or whatever. You guys are the icons, the pioneers, the creators of hip hop as we know it. I don't care what anybody else says. I know people are going to go crazy in my comments after this. Oh, well. Moving forward, when we talk about people being divisive and vitriolic, Vlad, I know you did Kaz, I know you did an interview on Vlad a while back, and now they're trying to twist your words. Crazy Legs, same thing. You made a mention of who started b-boying way back. What do you think about people searching the internet for any little soundbite that you may have said and twisting it and using it as ammo for this war? Because you did correct them, Kaz, on your Instagram page. I thought that was really dope. But what do you think about these people who are searching the internet like, no, let me get something they said so I could twist it? Because that's how bad it's getting.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody's looking for content right now. And people are looking at things that were said then or that may apply to something right now and putting this together and this and that. We just went through the cancel culture thing, you know what I mean, a couple of years with all these movements going on and everything now. And I think people are just grasping for straws. The history is the history. And now it's breaking down, all right, creation or contribution. Did Latinos start hip hop or did Latinos contribute? And then we're going to have to go back into what is hip hop and what are how far does hip hop go back? I've always said hip hop didn't invent anything. It reinvented everything. So it comes from different things. So trace those things back and see what the origins of those things that led to hip hop. Okay. If you want to say who invented hip hop, but hip hop as we know it, we talking August 11th, 1973 as the definitive date. We know the predecessors to it was the disco movement and the DJ movement that was going on prior to that. But once that flipped, okay, to the streets, to the minimalist, which was us that had nothing and built this culture from the ground up, that's us that was in the streets. Boogie Down Bronx, South Bronx back then, blacks and Latinos.
What do you think about, do you think that hip hop still has the 5 elements, lyricism, DJing, b-boying, and b-girling? We can't leave the girls out. Graffiti and historical knowledge. Do you think that though that still encompasses the 5 elements of hip hop, or do you think it's bigger than that now?
No, I think that's the foundation.
That's the foundation.
That's the foundation of the culture. All those things together, that's what makes hip hop. Now, all the things have been added to hip hop. Some of them have agendas behind them. Some of them was added because somebody felt that they wanted to add something and have a say so in what hip hop is. So now it's this and it's that and it's now and it's this, and you know what I mean. But it's basic, it's foundational, and it's what it started as. Those basic elements.
Yeah, since we're teaching on today, can you give us an example of something that was added after the fact and is agenda based, in your opinion?
Well, let me before you get to that, let me just say something. I learned something today that I had no idea about, and I didn't even know I had it all this time, but it's been a long time since I looked at it. I have a copy of Kool Herc's first interview.
Wow.
So this is like to me, we all look at Kool Herc as a person who first played breakbeats or whatever, right? But I'm reading his first interview over here, and he started playing songs like Give It Up or Turn It Loose and Get Ready by Red Earth or whatever, because he went to a party where a DJ by the name of John Brown was spinning. And so Kool Herc says in this book, and this is the book, it says that he started playing that music because of him. But here's the thing. You could give John Brown a little credit for playing a dope set that night. But at the end of the day, Kool Herc inspired people like Grandmaster Flash and Africa Bambaataa, who took it to the next level. Undeniable. And then in that same article, I even learned that, okay, the party that was described is not what everyone's saying today. It was actually just a birthday party. It wasn't a back to school party. Like, this is his first interview. And it says who was there, who wasn't there. And there were things where it tells the story of how he became a DJ. But it also tells the story that in 1975 was when he, like, outside of playing for the dancers, who were, of course, stylized, always. That's just what people of color do. But the whole idea of break beats in this book, he says, was more about 1975. And that's his own words. And because he started playing more for the B-boys, So, there's a lot of stuff. Look, again, a lot of us, sometimes our memory doesn't serve us so well, but the closer to the time, you would want to agree with more. So I think that, when people look at what I said about anything, look, do I feel like breaking comes from African-American culture? Fuck yeah, easy. Okay, No problem. But who made up the backspin? Me. Who made up the windmill? Me. Who made up spinning upside down on one hand? Me. That led to the whole evolution of power moves. I made those moves up in the 70s. So it's like, don't tell me I wasn't there. And if you're going to say I wasn't there, then don't do my moves. Don't let the Olympics. You know, don't do any of my moves in the Olympics. And
Give
see
him
how
back.
you know, it's just like we could keep digging and digging and digging and find things that we've said because we thought, and trust me, some of the people who taught me, their memories, now that I realized that I could cross-reference shit, I was corrected today. Like and I was reading a book and I misread the book. I put a flyer out as 1975 and it was actually 1978. And I corrected myself, which I happily do. And I think a lot of people who are trying to change the narrative right now are not willing to correct themselves. They're just trying to find another way to discredit anything we say. And it's like, yo, all right, you want to discredit Puerto Ricans, you want to discredit Jamaicans, you want to also discredit Haitians. And like, where does this end? You know, we could definitely take everything back to Africa easily. But at the same time, look at that motherfucking Afro. Africa is in me too. You know, like I celebrate the black part of me and the hybrid that I am. You know, but don't divide us, man. Those people who are on that agenda, it's clickbait and it's pro one thing and forget everyone else, and let's dismantle all the accomplishments that we have made in terms of moving forward and being the representation for the rest of the country to follow when it comes to Black and Latino people getting along. But to me, you're not gonna mess up my party. It ain't gonna work. I've been shot at, whatever. Troll me. You can. I've been in shootouts, man. You ain't me.
Yeah, word. Tell me about
whatever they think they're doing, it's like, come on, man.
So before I throw the question back to Kaz, because I really want to address the agendas that where hip hop is being used for agendas. I gotta wait. Talkers in the building.
What you thought,
people? Wow, now we got a Korean in the house.
What's up, Tony Touch? Welcome to On the Block with Jen, sir. So happy to see you here.
What's up, everyone? Good to be here. I see I'm amongst many scholars. I'm here to learn.
So, you and I both. So, Kaz, speaking of agendas and how people are using hip hop for their own agendas, can you give an example of one or anyone else on the panel who's seen something and looked at it side-eyed like, that ain't us, that ain't what we do?
I mean, all of us on this panel could give you many examples of, people, using hip hop as their own agenda. Hip hop is the only entity of disproportion that has grown.
Let me write this down. Go ahead.
Okay, that doesn't have any structure or any governing board or any. There's nobody you have to answer to if you want to say something is hip hop or say you're hip hop or anything. This is the biggest genre of music in the world. Okay, the biggest money making thing, the thing that has influenced the planet, as much as the internet in the last 50 years. Okay, this is what we're talking about. How could you just minimalize that like that by, it's like top 10 lists. Like, yo, who's the top? Who your top 5? Who the fuck gives a fuck who's first, second, third, fourth, or fifth? If everybody is dope, if we all contributed, if we all gave in, if we all put in.
What do you think about, and anybody on the panel can answer this, what do you think about the YouTubers who are having 4, 5, 6 hour streams discrediting Jamaicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, saying that they need to do a hostile takeover of hip hop and get it away from all those other people? Because there are people online saying exactly that. They need a
white people on it. What are you talking about?
All right, Jen,
takeover that's coming to hip hop.
Jen, that's the world we live in. That's okay. They can do that. They can do whatever the fuck they want, as long as these people that you see on your screen now are alive and kicking and giving out facts and teaching, they can never take it away from us. Period. End of story. My photos don't lie. I mean,
Neither do your hips.
Look at the diversity of that gymnasium, Kaz's old high school, Theodore Roosevelt.
Right.
Look at the rope, but look at the diversity of kids, because we were kids back then, teenagers. Look at the diversity of that. Okay, nobody can take that away. Nobody.
Suena.
And we may slip, we may say something wrong, this, that, and the other. We're all getting up there in age and this, that, and the other. But like, I'm still learning. And I witnessed it.
Doka, what's up? You late? You on Color People time, but it's okay. I'm happy to see you. The question I asked before is, why do you think this beef is going on? This supposed beef going on between Black and Puerto Rican contributors, creators of hip hop. Why do you think that's going on in 2022? And anything else you want to add about what you've seen lately on social media? Because I know you cammed up on your social media and you had something to say. So
he was on TMZ. Fuck around.
I saw that.
He was on TMZ. I just got on Instagram. Tony was on TMZ.
Yeah. No, they called me asking. They called me asking if I had any comments or statements, or if I wanted to say something in regards to the whole backlash with Joe. And I said, of course, I'm not a full historian. I don't know it all. I learned a lot from Legs, from Kaz, and listening to these guys. And so I spoke my mind on what I knew, and which seemed pretty factual. And I think where it's coming from, I mean, you got places in the Midwest, West Coast, down South. These kids, they don't really know the origins. They only see it, hip hop as one thing, one way. And many don't even care to do the history. They just see it, this is the Black thing, that's it. And, I think it's like a geographic issue. I think part of it is a geographic issue. Where just people in these territories are misguided, misinformed, and not many even care to be informed, There's a rise, and I mentioned it in the TMZ interview, like with the whole Black Lives Matter. There's like a movement going on now. Everybody, Black folks trying to claim they own and what was overlooked, and a lot of history that was taken and needs to be corrected, with the invention of a lot of different things throughout the years of history. And that Black Lives Movement is powerful, and they're going after it, and they're claiming their own. Maybe some of this kind of like it's as a result of what's going on with that movement also,
Right. And I think, let me be clear, I think it's very, very important that you claim your own, right? That's very, very important. But I think the problem, there's a thin line between that regarding hip hop, claiming your own and discrediting. Like, that's my issue with this whole beef, specifically with Puerto Ricans and hip hop creation versus contribution, because that seems to be the big fight online. I would love for each of you.
Wait. Let me just correct you. There ain't no fight, because I haven't gone in on anyone. Joe hasn't gone in on anyone. Kaz, none of us have gone in on anyone. This isn't a fight. This, for me, this moment right now is more like, hey, we can educate some people. If those people want to fight, hey, see us in the street. You know what I mean? I'm not doing the keyboard gangster bullshit or anything like that. You want to see me.
Right. See, y'all are cool though. Y'all are cool now. You cool. You pioneers, you icons. But these youngins in the chats are taking heads off with those capital letters. I wanted to ask specifically for all of you, be it Black or Puerto Rican, did Puerto Ricans create, contribute, or are they just guess? And if whichever one you choose, please explain why you think they contributed, they're created, or they're just guess. Please, can we hear that, please, out of your mouth individually?
I'm waiting for my invitation, man. I'm still waiting for an invitation.
I'll start.
Yes, please.
I think we
contributors or creators. Let's hear it from
both.
the pioneers.
Both. Yeah, I say both.
Both. You can't speak to us and see or hear the facts without saying that we didn't help create this culture and we didn't contribute to it, because to create something you need to contribute to it. And so, I'm going with both.
If someone was to press you, Joe, and say, okay, what did Puerto Ricans create exactly? What would you say?
Babies with Grandmaster Kaz.
Damn.
Go ahead, Kaz. Kaz, elaborate.
Please, Kaz, elaborate, because that seems to be the burning question. When people say no, they also help to create the culture, the genre. People say, well, what exactly? We need to know what they poured in the cup and shook around and held up to the light. What controlled it? How? What?
There was no blueprint. There was no blueprint. We did what we felt was things that we wanted to do. We rocked the parties. We dressed the way we wanted to dress. We had our own language and style more than anything, as much as rap. Style wise, we was rocking like forget about it. Everybody had their own uniqueness. So to say, let's say, what did we contribute? Shit, play some of the music. All right, check out some of the movies. This isn't something that happened overnight.
What's the biggest thing we did, bro? We bridged the gap between. Look, the most important shit that hip hop did, from the New York City rap tour to the Wild Style tour, we fucking brought the world together.
Yes.
Come on. The biggest selling genre in the world. Like, people want, like, none of us here talk about that question. To us, it's like, and I know you're asking it because you got to play your role, and I know you understand the deal, but in reality, the fact that we
question I keep getting. That's the question.
I keep getting. And you know what? To me, I don't even want to dignify it, because like for me, it's like, yo, we did some dope shit, man. We bridged the gaps between so many different cultures. Like, look, back in the days, when I was hanging out on Crotona Avenue, I could not walk through Little Italy. If I wanted to get to White Castle, I had to walk all the way around, walk straight up Crotona, make a left on Fordham, then go backwards instead of walking through Little Italy. Okay, Black and Puerto Ricans lived that pain together. We could not get to White Castle fast enough, So it's like, but now, look at us. We're getting flown to Italy to sit and speak in front of those people. And it's so different now. And these dumbasses are trying to point out some whack shit that doesn't really matter to us. Like, for us to have to sit here and figure it out, we may learn something more about ourselves and figure out where we said some things wrong. Because, let's face it, we're not historians, and we're trying to figure this shit out. And we're going to stumble along the way. But if they're going to use that as an axe to grind against us to serve their purpose, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to give them any shine. And I know a couple of the names, but I refuse to say the names because I don't even know who these people are, like, in terms of like what are your credentials? What is your job description? Help me out.
And you really don't. And like, Crazy Legs is not capping, because we have these conversations behind the scenes. I'm like, well, this person is doing this and this person is saying that, and Crazy Legs is like, I don't know who those people are. Like, I really don't know, and I have to explain to him who those people are. Kane, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, I wanted to just add on to what Tony Touch was saying. Before I do that, to Legs, listen, we all understand that you, Kaz, Whip, all y'all, Joe, y'all gonna forget a lot of stuff because y'all dudes is getting old, man. Y'all old as shit now.
Hold on. What's this, y'all? But you right in the motherfucker though.
No, me and Toka is young. We children.
There you go.
No,
Speak on it.
seriously though, all jokes aside though, I do want to say this. Just to clarify so that don't get twisted around. You absolutely right, Touch. This is the time period right now where a lot of stuff, black people want to clarify and clean up. You know what I'm saying? To understand, like, okay, this is what we created. This is what we did. You know what I'm saying? And that's only right. But I will say this. Right now, so many people with no knowledge of what's going on with certain things that didn't backtrack, didn't study, didn't do their history, do the knowledge. So many people are trying to erase so many things that they're going to mess around and erase the history of it all. Yeah? Because it's like when you sit there, okay, but was you there in the beginning? Was you there at the... Okay, what's the beginning? This goes to add on to what Kaz was saying. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what's the beginning? You know what I'm saying? Like, was Crazy Legs the first B-boy? No. There were others before him. But when the world knew about breaking, it came about through Flashdance, Wild Style, Beach Street. You know what I'm saying? It became, public to the world, public knowledge to the world because of what Crazy Legs and the Rocksteady crew and the New York City Breakers brought to film. You know what I'm saying? So that's an important part that they did. You know what I'm saying? Was Prince Whipple Whip the first MC? No. But, he could have been, I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? Before, you could have been, were you the first Spanish one?
The first Latin to make it happen in rapping? Let me see now. This is, and what I tell people is, okay, there's a lot of Latinos throughout. Now, who touched the mic? Who was rocking the mic? I was rocking the mic late in the 70s. But like, there's a big thing. They're like saying Ruby D. I was like, yo, you can be the party. You can be. I don't care who's first. Who's second.
But either or, whether it's you or Ruby. My point is that there were other MCs.
Yes.
For you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The person that may claim to be the first MC, there may have been someone before him. You know what I'm saying? When you start erasing history like that, then you end up with people saying, yeah, but what about the last poets? What about Biggie Markham? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what ends up happening when you start
exactly
to erase the history and the culture. You know what I'm saying? Even with the DJs, you know what I'm saying? Were there DJs before Herc?
Yeah.
Of course there were. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's like, with the culture, with what's happening with the culture, the contributions, you know what I'm saying? I mean, what Herc made it, the vision that Herc saw. You know what I'm saying? What the vision that Leg saw, the vision that you saw. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like, I think that so many of us try to erase certain things to solidify either their purpose or whatever the case may be, but you're going to mess around and erase the whole history of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and this is a conversation right here. What I'm saying to you right here, this is a conversation that I had with Kool Herc about the history of hip hop. And I know y'all gonna think I'm lying, but on everything, he agreed with me. He agreed with me. He said, you're right. Straight up.
I said it earlier. I said it on the interview real quick to add on to that. No idea is original. Everybody got something from somewhere, right? So when they start referencing, well, we were dancing, a few people came at me on the gram talking about the dancing that took place in the 40s and 50s,
I saw that.
And they were taking it to the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
That's just my point. No idea is original. You know what I mean? They weren't dancing to hip hop, but they were dancing on the floor. So
it's like everything.
When you're erasing hip hop history. That right there, what you just said, Touch, that's when you're erasing hip hop history. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got into hip hop in 1977 when I heard Master D from Brooklyn play it on a block party, And then from that point on, learning about the Furious Five, learning about Cold Crush, Kaz was my biggest inspiration. I ripped my whole first rap book up because I wanted to sound like him, you know. And to this very day, I've sitting like just a half an hour ago when you was on the phone with me, I still fan out. Like, yo, I'm on the phone with Crazy Legs. I cannot, because I remember taking my little.
I'm not alone.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I still fan out. So I understand the importance of hip hop, but I also understand the importance and the contributions that Puerto Ricans and Hispanics have made to this culture, and the great things they did. And then the documentation by Joe Konzo. We don't want to see your chest. The documentation by Joe Konzo, man, come on, man. Like that's you know what I'm saying? Like that's the history book right there that you created, Joe. So as far as I'm concerned, I got nothing but love for all the Hispanics that's involved in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And I realize and recognize your contributions. Much love to all the Hispanic people that's involved in hip hop. Now, if y'all excuse me, I'm going to eat some Japanese sushi.
Word.
That's where I came from.
Hey, so check this out. The funny thing is that in the 70s, and let's make this more educational. We weren't talking about let's go to the hip hop jam. At least the shorties who were like trying to find out what Cold Crush was or whoever was rocking. Number one, we were listening for the echoes bouncing off the buildings. Like at 6 o'clock, you guys. I don't know. I'm sure everybody did that, whether you're an MC or one of us shorties who are following you guys. Like, yo, we was hungry. I would roll up on Charlie Chase's window over
La Fontaine.
Yeah. Me and my cousin Lenny Len would be like, yo, like we would like 10, 11 years old. Hey, Charlie, you gonna be DJing today? Like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be DJ for the Chinglings over there on Belmont Avenue, blah, blah, whatever. And me and my cousin, we were small and we grabbed a crate from each side, because it was too heavy for us. And we, but so the thing is like when these people start talking all this shit, it's like, yo, man, like you're trying to erase my experience as a child. I used to roll up to Lambert houses and try to peek into fucking Tony Tone's window to see if I could get his attention and ask him where Cold Crush was gonna be. That's what I used to do. So the thing is that when they say we weren't there, it's like, yo, man, like, I can tell you, I went to Audubon Ballroom, the Ecstasy Garage, the T Connection, the original Disco Fever, where I would be peeking in. I'd see, like, I'm not going to mention no names, but certain people sniffing cocaine on the other side of the curtain. You know what I mean? I got behind that curtain once, way above my pay grade, and I left. But I got pictures of me in the Disco Fever, like, and I lived around the area where the Chinglings were, and all, like I was the like the ultimate Cold Crush Brothers groupie. No offense, whip. But I grew up. Those are my heroes. That was the first music. The first music that I ever loved was hip hop. At the age of 10 years old, my brother started dancing before me. My brother was in Zulu before it was Zulu. And he was in a crew called The Organization, which was Zulu. That became Zulu. My brother had a membership card. So that means that even before me, my brother had an experience before me. Because Africa Islam and we all lived in the same block around Garfield and Baker. And the Mayberry
really quickly, I wanna touch on something Kane said, because it's so important, and I see it happening a lot online, which is basically like people want to covet and kidnap hip hop for their own whatever selfish gain. Starting this controversy is lucrative on YouTube. They're not these charlatans, these YouTubers are not doing it for free. They know that it's clickbait. They know that a lot of people come through. They make people feel good about owning something or inventing something or creating something. So that is why they're doing it. There is an agenda, right? Like not all agenda has a white face. Unfortunately, a lot of people in our own communities saw there's money in division, right? So even our own people are doing this to our younger generation. So I think it's important what Kane said, like, don't let them erase our era of hip hop by going back to 1920 when somebody was spinning on their back. Because what they were doing in 1920 wasn't what was happening in the 70s and the 80s. It's two different worlds. So we have to be careful with that. We have to be vigilant. Kaz, you know, the thing that still with the y'all didn't invent, y'all didn't create, y'all didn't invent, y'all didn't create. Those are the two words that people have hard-ons for on social media. Those are the two words, okay? Big hard-ons for y'all didn't invent, y'all didn't create. Can you please speak to that, Kaz? Puerto Rican.
I say that to say, when I say hip hop didn't invent anything, I'm saying that hip hop was inspired by things that already existed. There's nothing new under the sun. Nobody came up with something that was never here before. But we reinvented each one of those elements. We reinvented that dance for our generation. Our generation reinvented graffiti. We reinvented how people DJ and manipulate music. We reinvented spoken word. All right. And our reinvention of those elements are hip hop. Okay. So, I mean, you can't say that's this just sprung up out of air, out of nowhere. We saw something. We was like, that's cool. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it this way. And there were enough like-minded people that lent their talents to each one of those elements and had that same mindset. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it like I would do it. Okay. And that's not invention. That's reinvention. Okay. And that's where the term comes from everything that we saw. I didn't invent rhyming or rapping or DJing or cutting up records. Yeah, I came up with a few styles of my own. Okay, but basically we all fed off the things that we saw, the visuals and the sounds, and we recreated it under our own narrative.
East.
And you know, Kaz,
regarding Puerto Rican, though, regarding Puerto Rican, can you speak on something that was iconic from a Puerto Rican? Joe Konzo, you're iconic. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have the visuals to everything that you've taken pictures of. And I implore you, whoever's watching, whoever's lurking, whoever's being nosy, whoever's hating in the chat, please follow Joe Konzo on Instagram. There's a lot of history on that Instagram page. There's also a book. Can we see the book again, Crazy Legs? El libro.
Born in the Bronx.
I'm Joe Konzo's biggest cheerleader.
Born in the Bronx.
I haven't gotten a check yet.
Born in the Bronx, and there's also a lot of documentation in there as well, right, Joe?
A whole lot of documentation. You know, Tony just did the documentary also, his mixtape, that is so fucking informative. I learned something new with that also. You know what I mean? Tony, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, the mixtape documentary. You know, just trying to tell the story of that. How, you know, it evolved from recording, from bootlegging parties and performances to making mixtape albums that are now, you know, what Khaled is doing, like from the beginning to the end. So that's what the documentary is about. And, you know, hopefully people will be informed and learn about that, you know. And I like what Leg said the other day, Tape Master, you know, Puerto Rican cat, documenting a lot of the parties and recording the parties. Those are like
Elvis Moreno.
Yeah. What was that?
His name, Elvis Moreno, Sammy. Tape Master.
God bless him. I think he passed, right?
No. You want to say something?
He did.
Yo.
God bless him.
Real quick. About 3 months ago, I got a text message from somebody claiming to be his brother-in-law, this, that, and the other, wanted some pictures, this, that, and the other. I'm like, you're bugging. He passed. No, he's not. He's living in Florida in an assisted living room. Okay. And Cass spoke to him. I spoke to him, and you know he's alive and kicking. In Florida.
God bless him. So
and you know, he had the foresight.
Let me ask a question. So, to my understanding, it seems like you guys kind of are all saying the same thing. Is hip hop something that a person, a race, an ethnicity could say, we invented this, it is ours, and everybody came after?
Can I say something real quickly? Hey, listen, back in the 70s, 60s, maybe a little earlier, the Bronx is the melting pot of all ethnic groups. Huge migration of people to the Bronx. Okay, and that's who created, or that's who put together this culture that we love so much. You know, hip hop was birthed in the Bronx, and hip hop holds no color boundaries or ethnic boundaries. I mean, we had Jewish cats breaking. You know,
doing graffiti.
Doing graffiti. Like, you know,
I mean, keep it a buck. I mean, hip hop, like basketball, was predominantly black. Okay. And I remember, and my man Disco Wiz ain't here right now, but Disco Wiz, you know what I mean? We was friends in school. And when I told him I was DJing, I put him down with me. We started DJing together. And we would just, as friends, just walk through the neighborhood, walk down streets. We used to dress alike and shit. And he would catch flack from Puerto Ricans, Latinos. They would like stop him when we was walking and say something to him in Spanish. And I could tell that something was wrong because he would hand me his hat. Yeah. And I seen him knock 3 or 4 people out for saying, why you hanging with that fucking Moreno? All right. So it wasn't all everybody kumbaya. We was at that point in our youth where we was in the park, and most of the Puerto Ricans was in the handball court, and most of the black people was on the basketball court. Now, did black people play handball? Yeah, but it was predominantly Puerto Ricans. Did Puerto Ricans play basketball? Yeah, but it was predominantly black, and that's the same thing for hip hop.
And we were in the same park.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah, in the same hood.
Let me speak to that because it's extremely, extremely important what Kaz said. Predominantly, right, is the key word. Not in totality, predominantly, right? Hip hop is predominantly black, as he joked. Handball is predominantly Puerto Rican. Salsa is predominantly Puerto Rican. Doesn't mean that there aren't black people doing salsa. I hear a lot, well, Puerto Ricans were anti-black anyway. They didn't like hip hop, right? And I agree that a lot of them didn't. The older folks used to tell me, why are you listening to that Moreno music? Why are you dating that Moreno? Why is your best friend a Morena? That also happened in our communities. But what also happened in our communities is we were like this, despite the prejudices and biases of people that may have even been in our own families. But that was not exclusive to Puerto Ricans. In black households, it was like, what that little Puerto Rican girl doing here?
Facts.
Over here.
Facts.
Why that little Kaz, if your family is half black and half Puerto Rican, you heard it from both sides. You heard it from both sides.
Yeah, no doubt.
The exception is not the rule. This is our music. We got along famously. Did we have people in our family that were like, what are you doing with her? What are you doing with him? Yes, but that happened on both sides. So it cracks me up when people say anti-black, because there are black people that are anti-black. It is not exclusive to light or white. There are black people that are anti-black. If you are a black person,
same thing with the Ricans.
Same thing with the Ricans. Absolutely. There's colorism.
And Cubans and Dominicans.
There's colorism, the diaspora, period. There is colorism in the diaspora. I did a stream about colorism in the Latin community. Okay, it is not exclusive to us, to you, to whoever. That is how it is. If you came off a ship, somebody's grandmother doesn't like a boyfriend.
And you know what? and I'm gonna tell you one thing that what Latinos and black people have to realize: we all have slave names.
Yeah. We sure do.
We all have slave names.
We sure do.
I mean, we need to focus on what we got in more of what we got in common than anything else. It's really beautiful. Check this out. We were in Atlantic City recently, and Kaz was driving, and I'm in the back seat, and 100% came on by Big Pun, and of course Tony Sunshine is singing in there, and I'm chilling in the back, and Kaz was singing all the Spanish parts. I was like, this motherfucker. And it just gave me a whole other respect for him, man. I was like, because I didn't know Kaz could sing Spanish. I was like, oh shit, that's my brother.
Been around us long enough.
I done
been around
oblated a
long
little
enough.
Espanol in my day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a handful of them.
I mean, we really do have way, way, way more in common than we have differences. And that's what's heartbreaking to me, is because we are in the same fight, despite the colorism, despite the prejudice and the bias. We are all in it together. And that's what I wanted to stress tonight, that, you know, I always say, don't let people you don't know, who weren't there, who have nothing to do with you, that didn't grow up where you grew up, do not let them pick your enemies for you. And that happens a lot on YouTube. They go listen to a guy who has 1 million followers, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to go with what he said because he has 1 million followers. The dude has no credentials. He's not a historian. He didn't grow up in the environment, yet he's out there as an authoritarian as to what happened. But I got this panel right here, and they are saying what happened. With that said, I know there's going to be a bunch of assholes in the chat saying, that's not what Kaz said. They don't matter. This is what matters. We are who matters. We experienced it. We lived it. We created, contributed, invented, whatever word you want to put on it. It is ours collectively. And I think it's dumb. I think you weaken the genre and the culture when you start being, you know, divide this one over there and divide this one over there. When, yes, predominantly people did this, people did that, but we all came together for hip hop. And that's what's most important. We all came together for hip hop.
Let's be straight. Wait, let's be straight.
yeah.
There was some whack ass Black and Latino artists out there that were horrible straight trash. Just because you're one or the other doesn't mean that you're automatically dope. I've seen some trash MCs, B-boys, DJs, writers. The reason why toy exists in hip hop is because motherfuckers were toys. That's what we call them: a toy, a duck, a herd, whatever. There's so many
Lioneer,
you know?
a Lioneer,
A Lioneer.
We used to call dudes a burger. Yo, that motherfucker's a burger. He's whack.
Word the burger.
I want to make a statement. I was talking to Head G. He's one of the he's Evilly was Ice's DJ, and I just found out, I didn't know that Johnny J, when he got arrested and some shit happened, I guess he went to prison or whatever.
Who?
Johnny J, that produced a lot of Tupac stuff.
Okay.
The Mexicans, they threw him off the balcony, because he was like, he didn't understand the Mexican culture. He was like us. He was wearing what we wear, doing our thing, and he was hip hop straight, But they didn't like that, And I was like, wow, when I heard that, because I was thinking, all right, he's still raking in the bucks, he's still doing his thing, and I just found this out a couple of weeks ago that he got off just because he wasn't representing being Mexican.
Hey, you know what? Check this out. My man was doing some Fed time, right? The CO goes to his cell, and he tells him, all right, nigga, get out your cell. And my dude tells him, yo, what you calling me a nigga for? I'm Puerto Rican. Oh, you a saltwater nigga.
Oh, shit, saltwater.
So we forget how they look at all of us while we're fighting. Well, I'm not fighting against my people, Black, Latin, whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm not making any blanket statements against either of those. So, but the thing is that they look at us like we're fools. And I get there are people out there, the FBA group, and if they have an agenda to raise up themselves and uplift and empower, beautiful, but don't do it at the expense of being an asshole.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, it is.
That's the problem right there. You guys got like the chat. You guys got like 5 minutes if you have a question for anybody on the panel, because I do want to respect their time. These men have lives, okay? They don't got all day to play with y'all. So if you have a quick question, throw it in a super chat, because I'm not looking through all those questions. I'm sorry. If you have a question that I missed and you want to ask, you got about 5 minutes, because we're going to close out.
They usually don't have questions. Hey, they usually don't have questions when we're actually in their faces.
Yeah, no, listen. This is
you might not get any. So here's the thing. This is what happens. They'll hit you up after, or they'll reach out to us after.
Oh, them niggas this and that.
Channel. Oh, I didn't want to say anything, but I wanted to ask you. And it's like, come on, man, you had your opportunity. Like, you King Konging all over the internet until someone confronts you directly. Like, get your King Kong on right now. Let's go.
Bars. Get your King Kong on.
Right.
And what's going to happen is a lot of people, a lot of riffraff reacts to my videos. So I'm sure this will be spliced and they'll take sound bites, you know what I mean? Get me more subscribers. So it's all good.
Yep.
I'm with it. But that's what they're going to do with this video. They're all lurking right now, taking notes of where I said what, so they could do reaction videos to it. I just say, spell my name right so people know where to find the kid, okay?
There it is.
Right.
Haters make you greater.
Absolutely. It is all good. I'm so, this was amazing. Okay. I'm like, you don't understand how full my heart is right now. I gotta go after I log off. I'm gonna go screaming like a little girl, but right now I'm gonna keep my cool. Okay. Because this is epic for me. I grew up listening and watching all of you. And I'm not that much younger, but I'm saying I had to write on pictures on the wall. And all of that. So this is epic for me. This is what I listened to most growing up. Even though my mama had, the Barry White and the Motown and stuff. Yeah, my thing was hip hop. And it's such a big part of our lives and in our clothes, the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we move. You know what I mean? Growing up, born and raised in the Bronx, New York. And it's very, very special to me. I want to thank you all so very much. I'm probably going to be stalking you on the DMs every now and then, like, yo, it's so good.
Of course.
So don't mind me when I'm in your DMs, like, yeah. Look at that crazy person. But I'm very honored. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I want to end on a beautiful high note where this is our culture and our genre. It is ours. It's so important that we keep the real history going, not the history of what somebody started in 1920, because like Kaz said, we reinvented. And hip hop is its own, entity. So I salute you, gentlemen. I hope that you continue documenting. Joe, I need to get that book. I know DJ Disco Wiz has another book. Tony Touch, you have Tony Touch and Crazy Legs, you both have docs coming out, right?
Tony Touch has a doc, mixtape, and I'm working on a Rocksteady doc.
Whip and Kaz, what do you guys have coming up? Because we have to keep documenting this, por favor.
Oh yes, we definitely got some De La Calle, as I thought you was one of the crew. Documentary coming out on MTV. So that's gonna be very interesting because it's Latinos and hip hop.
Ooh, and it's called
that's coming out through Paramount Plus on
they didn't invite me for that. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not Puerto Rican enough.
Maybe
I wasn't. I know I wasn't there.
You got all Hollywood on everybody.
Man, we did live out there for a while.
Kaz, what you got coming up?
Pretty much taking it project to project. I got new music out, a song called Parasite with my girl Daddy Rue. The videos on YouTube. Of course, I'm on Rock the Bells Radio Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The show is called That's the Joint with me and Shot Rock. And that's I got a contract, so I'm gonna be on for a minute. So that's a good thing. Everything else is
still at dinner.
All right.
Can you guys spell, and I'll throw it in anybody who's watching the replay of this, I will throw all the Instagram pages in the description. Give Mama about an hour. Give me about an hour to get everybody. But since I have you gentlemen here, can you please let people know where they can find you on social media?
Oh, hashtag Prince Whip.
Joe Konzo, Instagram, Joe Konzo, Facebook, Joe Konzo, everywhere.
Yeah, Whip, same thing.
Crazy Legs BX. Hey, I'm sorry. Say that. Go, Tony.
Mine is at DJ Tony Touch. You got to put the DJ in front of it because somebody bootlegged me and stole my shit.
Nah, that's nasty.
I couldn't find you. I was like, let me put DJ first.
He wants $1 million for it, right, Tony?
Yeah, the struggle continues. But yeah, DJ Tony Touch on all platforms.
All right, and I'm Kaz Brown on Facebook, the real Grandmaster Kaz on Instagram, and Grandmaster Kaz on Twitter.
And then mine is Crazy Legs BX. And just for clarity, with respect to like Disco Wiz, is half Cuban. Even people who are in Rocksteady, Take One, who is Dominican and Puerto Rican, Doze Green, Cuban and Black. So, just to show the diversity, Frosty Freeze was from Belize. you know. And yeah, man, it's just like I think this should be the last time we address this. I'm sure people will chop this up, like you said, and hopefully just serves a little bit of purpose. We're actually busy. We don't have time for this bullshit. It's the wrong interview to be doing. I'd rather be celebrating, you know,
and making money.
yeah,
All
everybody
right.
in this chat I love dearly, I grew up with, and that is because of hip hop. These are my brothers right here.
Amen.
Because of hip hop, we're brothers, and that's all that matters to me.
Word.
Before we go, what do you think about one last question? What do you think about Busta Rhymes saying it's mostly Caribbean based? Hip hop was mostly Caribbean based, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, the islands, and Fat Joe saying it's 50% Puerto Rican and 50% black. Hi, mama.
Yeah.
What do you think about statements like that? You think they just throwaway statements? They don't mean much.
That's hard to put in a nutshell.
Ain't nobody take a census yet, so whatever.
You know,
Right, everybody has a perspective on this thing, and everybody wants to chime in. Of course, Crazy Leg made a great point as far as we didn't even know some of the people that were Latino or of different ethnicities in hip hop. If you was dark, you was black. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you spoke Spanish or spoke that other language, we just considered you black. And then we found out later on that many early hip hop artists were of mixed ethnicity. So a lot of this whole divisiveness thing comes from ignorance and people just not knowing and understanding that these, we shared the same culture because we lived in the same community.
And you know what? Just the last thing to further Kaz's point, Grand Mix at DST, first person in hip hop to ever win a Grammy, called me 3 years ago because he figured out that his father was from Ponce, Puerto Rico. So that means that the first person in hip hop to get a Grammy is half black and half Puerto Rican. So shut the fuck up.
All right, guys. So any parting words before we end this amazing stream? I'm gonna end it with something Kaz said, but I want you guys to jump in first.
Yeah,
I gotta be out, guys. I'm in Chicago. You see the Sears Tower right behind me over there.
Oh, you close, Pop?
They're waiting for me. Where you at? Where?
I'm in Michigan. I'm like right here by Toledo, about 3 hours from you.
Oh, okay. I'm here the whole weekend. So
Touch, ain't you coming out to Vegas?
Pull up on me.
Oh yeah, Kaz, you said?
No, you Touch.
Oh yeah. I'll be with the originals in Vegas on Sunday. I fly out to Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Hook the homie up with some tickets.
Hello. I need some tickets.
I get you in the party free. You just gotta get over
I'll
there.
be there on the
There you
12th.
go.
Say what?
I'll be in Vegas on the 12th.
There you go. Hit me. I'm gonna be stalking y'all. I'm gonna be like, hello, my tickets. I know Kaz. I know.
Yo, one love. I gotta skate. They waiting for me. One
Kaz,
love.
another one of your Puerto Rican girls are at the door.
Right.
I love you, man.
What can I say?
Like, I know the DJ.
Oh snap! Love y'all.
Love
All right,
you
Tony.
guys.
You too, bro.
All right. What final parting words do you have for all the idiots watching, all the students watching, all the friends and family watching?
Instead of talking about stuff that ain't gonna do nothing for you, talk about ways of making some money and doing some positive things. Let's all eat. Try that. Put that energy there, because that's where that energy belongs. If everybody wants to talk about something, that's not gonna help them one bit. Me being where I was at, me doing what I did, what's that gonna say about? What's that got to do with anything? I know people want to claim stuff. Well, we were there. Well, yeah, I was there. But let's move on and do something right, because it's a lot of wasted energy.
Agree.
Hey, I'll add this in. If you're having that much of an issue, do like me. Go to therapy.
They won't go to therapy. They just want to cry in my chat. They don't go to therapy. Let me block this guy real quick. All right. They won't go to therapy.
It'll smoke a blunt. Be good.
Right?
That's another form.
Joey, what party word? Joey, let me tell you, Joey is the connect. He's the plug. He got all the evidence. What are your party words for this stream? Can't hear you.
You're muted.
I'll
Let's take
never
some
forget
pictures.
the time when Kaz and I were up in Cornell. We're in this big presentation, and these scholars are, at the podium, and they start talking about Grandmaster Kaz, like in the past tense. And like Kaz stands up and like, why are you talking about me when I can be speaking about myself? And it just, the crowd went bananas. And the responsibility is on our shoulder to tell our story, to document our roles, our contributions, our creations, however you want to put it. That's why as a young kid, I picked up a camera, not knowing that I'd be documenting history, so to speak. And, I still take pictures today, and I don't discriminate. You can be a pioneer, legend, up and coming, whatever. I'm going to take your picture because the onus is on us to document our history.
Right.
Okay? So pick up a camera instead of picking up a gun. That's my saying.
I like that.
Bam.
Shoot with a camera, not a gun.
Put
Kaz,
that on a t-shirt.
Legs, what you got?
No, that's it. I'm never gonna. I'm waiting to hear what Kaz got to say because that's always the best shit anyway.
I want it. So we'll end with Kaz. We'll end the night with Kaz. Kaz, I love what you said. We share the culture because we were in the same community. It is so important. A lot of people speaking on this did not share the culture. They were not in the community, and they're speaking with such conviction, like they were there. But we were all in each other's homes, in our houses, the bodega, having each other's babies. We were all there together because we were in the same community. That is so important. So I'd love for you to end the stream tonight, sir.
Wait, I do have one thing to say. Shout out to my girl Giselle. Just give her a shout out.
Okay, hi, Giselle.
No, I just want to say that there's no way that this culture could have grown to these proportions without contributions from everybody in our community. Who would have been the audience? Okay, like who would have been listening? Who was the practitioners? Who picked up the ball and ran with it? Who validated what we were doing? Who made it popular? Who clapped their hands and stomped their feet? You know what I mean? That's who made hip hop. Okay, and that was our entire community. So I mean, like people who didn't have that sense of community, you'll never understand. That's how I was in the BX.
You sure ain't lost your class, boy.
All right.
And that's why he had so many Puerto Rican women. Yo, I'm gonna tell you. Here's the deal.
Right.
Kaz has this other book he put out. It's How Not to Be a Puerto Rican and Take All Their Women. We were looking at Kaz to figure out, damn, how am I gonna kick it to my own people? Like, how can I get
that bloodline is strong? That bloodline is strong.
Hey, what can I say?
They don't call him the GOAT for nothing.
You gotta come back, guys. Gotta finagle los boricuas. You gotta come back for another show. Help these cats out. Maybe that's what it is.
I think it's Casanova in me.
Casanova.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Jen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great meeting some of you for the first time. My heart is full, guys. Thank you. I'm really, really proud of this. This is one for the books. I'm going to take this with me. I'm going to document this now and pass it down to my children, my grandchildren. That's what's important because you are the guys that were really there. We can't leave our children to these assholes online. We cannot do it.
Right.
Facts.
We can't do it. It is important. We cannot do it. So good night, guys. Thank you all so much. Hugs, love, and kisses. I'll be stalking y'all later whenever y'all in Vegas. I know him.
I need your contact. I'll be out next week.
Okay, I'll DM you. I'll throw it in the chat, in the group chat. I'll throw it in the group chat.
All right.
All right.
Joe.
Peace, everyone. Thanks, everyone in the chat.
How do I get out of here?
Leave studio. can I get some love? Can I get some hugs? Can I get a little pat on the back? I brought this to y'all today. It was something I'm very, very passionate about. I saw a lot of ugly, a lot of dirty going on online. I was like, nah, man, I gotta say something. I always say use your privilege, whatever that privilege is. A lot of people think they don't have privilege because they are a person of color, right? But you have privilege. If you can gather 5 people in a room to listen to your words, you have a privilege that someone who can't do that has, okay? So I wanted to bring this to you. I saw a lot of people in the chat. I hope you hit and like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this panel. These guys were legends, pioneers, icons. They are hip hop. These are the people, I'm going to stress, these are the people you should be listening to, okay? What they say is bond, not the dudes that are 30, 40, even in their 20s, trying to separate people because they get super chats and they can sell t-shirts and keychains to you. They sell outrage, t-shirts and keychains to you. They get you nice and riled up, nice and angry, make you feel like you're part of some group that doesn't exist, and then they can sell you a fucking t-shirt behind it, okay? It is self-serving. It is BS. I ain't giving you no BS. This is what it was. This is why I wanted the pioneers up here today. I hope you guys learned. I hope you see their heart and their mind and what they see hip-hop is. And because they started hip-hop, we have to respect that. There is no respect, right? A lot of people in the chat were still talking shit. We have the pioneers, the icons, the inventors, the contributors, the people that were there telling you what it was. And you still got idiots in the chat contradicting what they're saying. Still got idiots in the chat contradicting what they're saying, the people that were there. So that's how funky it is out here. So please pass this along, share this video, dissect it, get my name right. I don't care if you're a hater or whatever, because the more you share it, the more people will learn, even the people you think are agreeing with you. As you know, everybody doesn't always have to agree here because we're not supposed to, but I think their word was bond and we have to respect that, right? We can't just be like, oh, well, they don't know nothing. They were there. They were all there. And it is, hip-hop is a gumbo, as I said before. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm really proud of this one. So leave me, if you're catching the replay, please leave comments in the comment section. It doesn't have to be a long sentence or whatever. You could hit me with a smiley face, a like, a heart, a little kiss emoji, whatever you want. That will help my algorithm. And I hope to bring you really, really, really compelling interviews. I got some deep interviews coming up, about some serious topics. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe. I love you all. Thank you for supporting me. I'm so happy right now. Okay. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you so much. Big Daddy Kane was here. Crazy Legs, Prince Whipple Whip, Tony Touch, Grandmaster Kaz, Joe Konzo. I had the all-star hip-hop pioneers team up here. And I'm really, really proud of it, being a hip-hop kid from the Bronx. All right, guys. So good night. Hit that subscribe, and I will see you mañana. Good night, and thank you for the super chats and all your support. Mama is happy. All right, guys. Good night. Thank you for holding down the chat block, babes. Love you all. Night, night.